My name is Brian Boykins, Hall Angels, class of 2000, class of 2004 of Hales. I was in 6th grade when I transferred into Holy Angels.
My name is Clarisol Duque. I'm maternity BVM class of 90, Good Counsel High School class of 94. I started from day one at Catholic school, and I attended maternity BVM school from 5th grade through 8th grade, and that was a wonderful experience. It was a life-changing experience for me.
It originally started back in 1986 when Cardinal Bernardine approached several of us and asked us if we'd consider helping the school system in the inner city, which was struggling financially and economically.
Those of you that know the Cardinal know that he could sell snow to the Eskimos in January.
They did not say no to the Cardinal. They were right there with him and did whatever they could.
And you can differentiate what Big Shoulders is on 3 bases. First of all, it really does deal with poor children. Over 60% of our student population, out of 25,000 kids, come from families that operate beneath the poverty line. Second, the product is so good, and we measure constantly, trying to see how kids are improving from year to year and from test to test. We know that 97% of our children graduate high school, and close to 90% of these same children go on to college. Finally, every single nickel, every single dollar that's given to us goes to the schools. There's nothing taken off the top for administrative costs or fundraising purposes.
I could honestly say we would not be open today if it were not for Big Shoulders. The importance in terms of scholarships for our children, capital improvements, and as of last year, the Patrons Program, which is like a gift from God.
If I didn't have this scholarship, of course I wouldn't have went to Hales.
The scholarships are extremely important to the parents who are willing to make a sacrifice and try to pay as much of the tuition as possible. But to give somebody access to that kind of education in a secure, safe environment, a structured environment, it's about the values embodied in a faith-based education.
Those that can afford to live in the suburbs provide really great education for their kids. The private schools within Chicago are only for the very well-to-do, and this is not the way that it ought to be. The inner city schools should be equally as good, and obviously the financial aid is required in order for that to occur.
The education that I received at Maternity BVM and Good Counsel High School were top-notch, second to none, despite the fact that we came from one of the toughest and poorest neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. We got the best education.
Big Shoulders is an icon in Chicago. It is one of those organizations that is just essential to the vitality of the city, to the success of families and young children. And what we discovered is they don't have the resources for the other things that make a school great, and in particular professional development, the ongoing training that teachers and principals need to continue to be successful.
The professional development that was offered to St. Therese, our teachers, through the support of Big Shoulders, it helped enrich our curriculum. It helped empower our teachers to embrace the technology in the way it was meant to for the 21st century. And you could see the children just change.
It kind of energizes the teacher within the classroom because you're able to bring the textbook knowledge and hands-on knowledge and actually interact that with the students. So it's almost like an energy pill for the teachers.
It's a way of creating a collaboration between an individual, a group of individuals, or an organization and an individual school, and allowing them to contribute both time, money, or other resources to really facilitate that school's survival.
The idea is to get people to focus their money on one school and then to put time and effort behind the money. It works best when you don't just write a check and forget about it. It works best when you actually interact with the school.
The odds of a patron school failing are much lower. They're going to get the support. There's going to be an early warning system if they need financing.
And a patron is just such a shot in the arm for a community of the school that feels very alone. And this kind of help is brought to them, whether it's in public relations or legal or bookkeeping or information technology or library sciences. And being able to bring those resources are what helps to keep that school alive.
I'd like to see all 93 schools have a patron, make it more of a permanent program. I think the experience is that once you become a patron, you kind of get hooked.
I believe the average expenditure per pupil in the Chicago public school system is about $11,000 per year, including all the overheads. Many Catholic schools are operating somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 per pupil. It simply isn't enough.
I mean, some of these facilities are 80, 90 years old. Well, you can imagine how out of date that they are. So we view that as a priority. We constantly are looking for things that will keep the school going, help to make it safe, and help to make it an environment that is more friendly.
It was a big turning point in my life. It was. I don't regret anything.
When I look at my experience at BVM and what Big Shoulders means to these communities, it reminds me that the Catholic school system is the original innovator. You know, they are the original community school, that community concept. That's our history, that's our legacy.
When you go into the schools that are helped by Big Shoulders, you see how energized these children are and how grateful I'm sure their parents are that they can give them an education that is the best in the city and that assures them that they can go on to high school and from high school to college.
The last few years have been wonderful at Big Shoulders. We've really seen momentum building both at the local level and universally as we've had no schools closing. That's been a lot of hard work, but also a large part of that is because of a great leader of the Archdiocese. Cardinal George has been very, very supportive of our efforts, but also of the Catholic schools in general.
The future of this city resides in the young people that we educate, and unless we can get those young people off to a good start, it never happens. In the final analysis, we're being helpful to the city because the young people, these young people today, are our leaders of the community tomorrow.
We can just look out into each classroom and see students who are making our school a better place, and we in turn are making their lives better, but it wouldn't be happening without the assistance that comes from Big Shoulders.
You know, someone once said, the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade one does not expect to sit. And I believe our contributors, all the people who are part of the Big Shoulders family, in a sense, plant trees all around this city because they don't expect to sit under the shade. The shade is for someone else. But it's what they do for the future. It's what they're doing now for the young people of Chicago that makes all the difference in the world.
Today I'm the office assistant at Madison Dipple & Partners.
And today I'm Senator Durbin's Chicago Chief of Staff.